Hey, I'm Paeter Franson from christiangeekcentral.com and Spirit Blade Productions. Welcome to Essential Issues Weekly, where I talk about DC Comics 1 week after their release on the Ultra tier of the DC Universe Infinite subscription service. In each installment, I pick an assortment of comics to talk about as a DC fan and also explore what, if anything, they have to say about the essential issues of real life. Now, warning, full spoilers for everything I talk about. This is your first and only warning that many spoilers lie ahead. Right now, we're going to take a look at comics originally released to the Ultra tier on October 3rd, have I done that right? No, October 10th, I think it would be. I forgot to update that part of my script. Anyway, first from that group is Batman and Robin, number 1, September 12th, 2023 is its original print publishing date. It seems to be a book focused on Bruce and Damian specifically as father and son, both inside of the costumes and outside of the costumes. Their relationship is drastically improved from early years where they were literally at each other's throats. They're even playfully competitive in an opening scene in this issue, and Batman is engaging in smiling and fist bumping with Robin after they take out the bad guys. Now, I kind of like that as a change of pace. Hopefully it's just kind of like they're creating a high point that they're going to drag us down from, because I'm only going to probably tolerate their relationship to be this functional and this positive for a short period of time. Bruce and Damian work best for me when they reflect in this really extreme sense the difficulty that fathers and sons sometimes have connecting with each other, where the father is often going to be more of the disciplinarian in the home, and so they're trying to figure out, as I am trying to figure out all the time with my boys, okay, at what point do I need to be stern here, and at what point do I need to give warmth and affection? Is this the moment for one or the other, And so I think that in this exaggerated way, I like seeing Batman and this iteration of Robin kind of like in the tension of that. I don't want really Batman to be a good dad. I want him to be a loving dad who truly does love Damian, but we all know Batman is extremely dysfunctional as a human being, and he would be extremely dysfunctional as a father. He did not grow up in a healthy, loving home like, say, Clark Kent did, So I want him to be a loving dad, but who is ill-equipped for the job, struggling and often failing as a dad. He's not presented as perfect here. That's not the sense I'm getting, but I do want his struggles to be more intense and defining in terms of the nature of the interaction between these two. I'm also not feeling the financial struggles that I thought they were trying to establish with this, kind of more recent status quo where Bruce doesn't have access to all of his finances. And so he and Damian are living together in this the brownstone apartment, but they still have a smaller Batcave under the brownstone, and Damian has his own, I guess, Robin mobile. The brownstone is, I think, though, still being leveraged to be a somewhat more relatable home. I mean, almost none of us that read comic books can relate to living in like a literal mansion. So I think something that is still, by many standards opulent, but much more downscale, could pave the way for some more relatable, homey type of scenes and interactions between Bruce and Damian. So I think that could really work. But I was open to the scale back in finances, at least temporarily, just to see kind of what that would yield in terms of stories. I feel like they're not tapping into that near as much as they could. But maybe there's still some potential just with this living space being smaller. We'll see. Bruce is enrolling Damian in high school, speaking of more down-to-earth types of plots. I do not, however, like aging him up this way. High school? No. I mean, when he was introduced, I think he was maybe 12 years old at most. And I really think that Damian, I felt the same way about Jon Kent, that they had a sci-fi story that aged him up. And they're admittedly not doing that here, but they're creeping him up. I'm pretty sure he was like 12 max when he was introduced. And I think that he should be like the Simpson kids. I think Jon Kent should have been like the Simpson kids, where they don't age, even though it's like 20 plus seasons and going, or whatever that show's been going for. We can accept that as entertainment consumers, as comic book readers whose heroes never seem to quite get out of their 30s or very deep at all into their 40s, we can accept that. And I wish that they would allow kids to remain kids. Damian is much more interesting to me as a 12-year-old, and aging him up, even if he is, say just in ninth grade right now, this is a slippery slope. I don't want him dating. I don't want him shaving. I want him to stay a child. That is what makes his dark edge in his personality all the more striking, because he's prepubescent in that darkness at the same time. So, I'm not a fan of this moving him into high school. Hopefully they can maintain, editorially speaking, self-discipline enough to just eternally keep him at least in ninth grade. Don't age him up any more than that, but, I'm doubtful. Next up, we've got World's Finest Teen Titans number 3, published also September 12th, 2023. And this continues the pop culture update of the Teen Titans original incarnation. The team goes to a fan convention that is centered around them. And Speedy and Kid Flash, super excited to be celebrities. They're really into it. Bumblebee, Donna Troy, and Aqualad go along, but they do so kind of hesitantly and just kind of along for the ride. They're just kind of open, but not necessarily excited. Robin, though, is ordered by Bruce to stay home and out of public scrutiny, which is interesting. They point out that goes kind of against the grain a bit, because remember, this is Dick Grayson, who was raised in the circus, and so he admits that he kind of misses the roar of the crowd, although he understands why Bruce is making the choice that he is. But there's still some tension there that I appreciated. There's some interesting character beats related to seeking popularity. I think that's a worthwhile theme to explore, especially today when even just the average person using social media, we can find ourselves posting something and then wondering, how many likes did I get? How much engagement? How many people have looked at this? And so there's this weird kind of high schoolish popularity contest that we still find ourselves engaging in as we interact with social media platforms. And so I think embedded in this, larger scale story about being celebrities, there is stuff here probably that's worthwhile for us to extract, depending on where they take it. They don't explore it a whole lot here. So, and I'm still waiting for this book to really get its hooks into me. And this issue hasn't really changed that. But when the character Bumblebee is nearly unmasked at this event, she almost completely flips out, suggesting that there is definitely something very personal driving that reaction. And I really look forward to seeing that explored. So they do have me for at least one more issue of World's Finest Teen Titans. Finally, Green Lantern number 3, also published September 12th, 2023. This is still setting up the new status quo for Hal Jordan. I think that this run got distracted, sadly, early on by the crossover Night Terrors event, and it's finally able to return to focus now. Hal is stuck on Earth with a ring that he kind of made himself by pure force of will out of a Manhunter's power battery. The ring, though, we discovered in the last issue, or at least where the story left off, shorts out when he is above Earth orbit. And so he seems to be stuck on Earth, and that seems to be specifically a limitation of the ring, which otherwise functions normally. Well, I guess it does. It's lacking AI that can translate for him, and has a few other things about it that are a little bit different. Anyway, I'm fine with this different kind of concept for the ring for now. I'm hoping that the computer intelligence comes back. I've always liked that it's, not as rudimentary as, say, Kyle Rayner's ring was. I like that AI ability to just call upon an encyclopedic knowledge of the universe when the Green Lantern needs it. But I do like most of Green Lantern's adventures to be Earth-based, and just kind of going for the spacey, the outer space cosmic stuff, just to give a sense of scale now and then. But for the most part, I like to see that cosmic power in play in environments that I can relate to just a little bit more. Sinestro, in this issue, leads a team of third-tier villains on a break-in at Ferris Aircraft, where Hal works for Carol Ferris, his longtime love interest. Carol tells him about this break-in, showing him security footage, and they know that this is a big deal, that Sinestro is doing this. They just don't know what he's up to. It's kind of strange behavior on his part to recruit this team and to do like a break-in of Ferris Aircraft, so there's just stuff that's weird and not adding up at this point. But Sinestro surprisingly and casually shows up at the end to talk to Hal, presumably to tell him what's up, but that's really just kind of like the end cliffhanger. We never get into that. Instead, precious pages are given to a backup story about Jon Stewart, which is teasing and tying into a Green Lantern book that's going to be focused on him. Now, I really like Jon Stewart. I think there's so much potential to that character. I would have tried that Green Lantern book anyway. I want the pages in this book, every page we can have, to be for Hal and for his story. And at this point, there's still too much setup to say how I feel about this run written by Jeremy Adams. There is a dark edge, though, to Sinestro and his team's attack on Ferris Aircraft that makes me believe that Jeremy Adams can tell a higher-stakes, serious story, which I wasn't sure about after his very joyful and optimistic-feeling take on The Flash more recently. Green Lantern is still my favorite superhero concept, but I haven't loved the Green Lantern book in a long time. Probably since sometime that Jeff Johns was writing it. I'm hopeful that I could love Jeremy Adams' run, but it's still too early on to say if that will be the case for me. Thankfully, it seems that now he's going to get a full-length format to work with, starting with the next issue, and the crossover that was kind of like getting in the way a little bit, that's over. So hopefully this means that in the next couple of issues, we can really see what this new Green Lantern book is going to be and to feel like. Anyway, those are all of my thoughts on comic books for now. As always, I'd love to get your thoughts and reactions in the comments below. Remember to check out christiangeekcentral.com for tons more content. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. It is time again for Christian Geek Central's annual Game Save event, fundraising for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which provides free treatment for children facing life or death circumstances and shares its cutting-edge, life-saving research with hospitals all over the world. And once again this year, I'm drawing attention to our team's fundraising by performing a 24-hour marathon of video gaming that I will live stream on youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral beginning 6 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturday, November 4th. You can donate or get more info by clicking on my fundraising page in the links below, where you'll also find incentives and rewards for doing so. On top of that, I've set fundraising milestones that will unlock strange and unusual happenings as I reach them. Finally, if I reach my $500 goal by the end of Thursday, October 19th, I will do a 4-hour Get Good live stream before the end of the year, playing only the most frustrating, difficult games in my collection. Now, there are some stipulations and time limits on those rewards and milestones, so quickly follow the link below to my fundraising page for all the details. Believe it or not, this makes the 10th consecutive year of Christian Geek Central raising funds for kids in great need of medical care. I hope you'll be a part of helping me and the Christian Geek Central Game Save team do some good for some kids who really need it. And then please join me at youtube.com/ChristianGeekCentral for my 24-hour marathon starting at 6 a.m. Pacific on Saturday, November 4th. Hope to see you there.